Hey guys, Shaun back with another weekend one-off. We're taking a look at the MediEvil Short-Lived Demo, which is a limited time demo for the MediEvil remake, which, if you've watched the stream, I've mentioned a few times I am actually kind of interested in the remake.
In a time long ago, there lived in the kingdom of Gallowmere a sorcerer named Xerok.
So this narration is a completely different
man
voice.
hated his fellow citizens for their simple and peaceful ways. So he raised an army of demons and set out to take
Unlike the Crash and Sparrow remakes, which I feel don't really need to exist, they don't really do anything
in the battle against this unholy horde.
worth making a new game for, to sell for like a full price. With one exception, the original Crash and the way they changed the save system in the Insane Trilogy, great. But control-wise, graphics-wise, there was no real need to do anything. The original MediEvil, they could really... the original MediEvil could really do with improved controls, which is a big part of the reason why I'm interested in this. So let's take a look.
The sorcerer returned.
So this is supposed to be the first two levels, Dan's Crypt and the Cemetery. This also coincides really well with Horrorween, so the first Horrorween weekend one-off. Now, I wasn't overly fond of the different appearance Xerok had in the first MediEvil remake, MediEvil Resurrection on PSP. Which, like, this is going for a remake in the same idea as the Ocarina of Time 3D remake. It's the same game with improved graphics and hopefully improved control. Whereas MediEvil Resurrection was expanding and changing some of the original stuff. It was a mixed bag. Well, let's see what we got here. Well, that looks true to the original than Resurrection did. Although, looking at that, the face looks somewhat less expressive, weirdly. That's weird, like the eyes in the original look more expressive than that. And Xerok approaches the village. It looks like the model's just kind of sliding around on the ground. Okay, so they've added some extra bits to the animation there. Yeah, I'm not sure how I like this appearance of Xerok. The male villager has a beard now. And he steals the villagers' souls. Just yellow empty eyes this time, not sparrows in the eyes. The music's a nice touch though, I like the music here. It actually shows one of the disembodied hands coming out. They were just kind of around in the original. Oh, I like this. This is the build up to the main menu in the original as well. The statue of Sir Daniel Fortescue. If there's one thing I was actually really happy about with PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, or Sony Smash Bros, as a lot of us call it, it was that they had Sir Daniel Fortescue as a playable character. That was great. It doesn't look like anything needs to be changed. Although it'd be really weird if there's no subtitles. Although the original had everything subtitled anyway, you couldn't turn that off. Oh, that's the original laugh. I like that. Up the hill, through the crack in the door, down the stairs. And there is Daniel's crypt. And he remembers his final battle with Zarok. That fire line wasn't subtitled in the original, but I suppose it didn't really need to be. And that's the truth of what really happened at the Battle of Gallowmere. Fortescue was the first man down, taking an arrow to the eye. Give us a smile. That looks less obvious that he smiles there than in the original. I hope they got the original voices back for the gargoyles. I love how snarky they were.
It has risen again. Sir Daniel Fortescue. See?
It is the original voice.
Of Gallowmere, who fell at the first charge. The fog of war.
Which is interesting because they got a new voice for the opening narration.
Turn the arrow fodder into the saviour of the day. But we knows better.
The gargoyles look a little more menacing and less silly. Oh, they've redone Dan's voice.
Let it alone. Fate has given it
In the original, the gargoyles look more silly. Here they look a little menacing.
The ignoble truth.
So I did hear they got the original voice for Dan back and re-recorded all his lines. I'm kind of wondering with... Oh, the gates stay open. You couldn't go back in there in the original. I'm kind of wondering if the gargoyles... they got the voice back or they just carried the voice lines over. Yeah, you couldn't go back here in the original. The gate's shut. Okay, so X is jump. Let me pull my arm off. There we go. The camera's very close here. Standard. Oh, that's a throw. There we go, the sweep. And there's the helmet. And I'm guessing what it's doing now is it's saving it because one of the Oh, there you go. Yeah, sure. One of the benefits of playing the short-lived demo is if you find Dan's helmet, you get to have it in game. It's weird that they've set it up like that and not just like as a save carryover thing. Like the Devil May Cry 5 demo had a thing where if you played the demo and I think if you beat the demo, you got like 50,000 orbs.
It has risen again.
Oh, you are just saying the same thing then. Are you saying the same thing?
Let it alone.
Yeah, alright. So I'm guessing that's the main reason why you can go back there, because in the original the gate just shut once he leaves in the cutscene.
You must be out of shape after 100 years lying on your back. Use the crypt to get to grips with your new lease on life.
So in the original, the books were here. Not sure if that book was there. I'm not sure there was so many. Thank you. Not sure there was so many books, but in the original, they also weren't voiced. You had to actually read the books yourself. Daggers.
Some weapons contain powers and abilities beyond the ordinary. Be sure to test every weapon to discover their secondary abilities. Some weapon abilities are immediate, and some may need a bit of time to charge before they realize their full potential.
So what that means, basically, is like if we go back to the arm, and oh, there's a quick switch feature, that's nice. So we go back to the arm, and you've got the standard, and then you've got the secondary attack. That's basically what that means. The star rune. The short sword. And the secondary attack for the short sword is a charge spin. That's quite nice.
During your travels through Galamir, you will collect many items. To see your items or to use one, review your inventory. In it, you will also find your Book of Galamir, which will keep a record of the denizens you've encountered and bestow you with keen insights that only a disembodied voice could provide.
Huh. Well, that's new. Nearly blunt, swing it hard. Handy when disarmed. Throw these away. Weak against arrows and everything else. So this has got to be cosmetic. Enemies return to normal. Oh, that's interesting. It's an optional hard mode. This has got to be something you'll get in the main game. It'll be ridiculous if it's only available for doing the demo. Like Devil May Cry 5 demo. Devil May Cry 5 demo. You got a bonus You got a bonus bunch of red orbs, but red orbs are in-game currency. You use them to buy new abilities and stuff. It's a little bit of a boost to start with, but it's nothing really in the long run. Famous rune forged with star power. A bestiary.
Our bone-headed protagonist, born again into this age of wonders. In life, he was just the worst. A coward, a cheat, a philatelist, or was it a philanderer? I don't recall. But either way, he seems to have woken up different. Perhaps he can redeem himself. Xerox should be more careful where he aims his dark magic.
Yeah, so Daniel is back because Xerox just threw down a resurrection or a necromancy spell in the graveyard, and it also ended up hitting Daniel Fortescue. Who the hell is this?
Morton was so happy when Dan died. Surely he initially had a lot of housework to do, but now he's got the place to himself and just how he likes it. Of course, Dan coming back to life was a bit of a shock, but Morton will do anything he can to keep his home buddy safe and get him back to the earthy darkness as quickly as possible.
I think I remember reading something about this. This is a worm that's living in Dan's head or in his body somewhere. He's living in his skeleton somewhere. That's new for this. It's going to serve some sort of purpose. Not necessarily for gameplay, I don't think, but maybe like Navi from Ocarina of Time, I don't know.
Can you imagine how boring it would be to be a sentient being, wise even, and be stuck permanently to a brick wall? No wonder these guys are grumpy. They pass time by eavesdropping, gossiping, and bad-mouthing any bizarre-looking adventurers that might pass by.
Huh. Ooh, we already have an entry for Xerox.
It is said that Xerox's preoccupation with necromancy stems from an obsession to resurrect his childhood puppy. Let's just reflect for a moment. Isn't that just tragic? All this poor troubled soul has ever wanted is to command the forces of darkness, enslave mankind, and play ball one last time with dear old Mr. Snuffy.
Doesn't add anything, doesn't take anything away. The copper shield. So in the original, triangle was how you raise the shield. What is it in this? Oh, it's R1. Alright. I need to remember that X is jump. It feels weird because in the original it was circle. Originally it was circle, triangle was raise your shield, square was the secondary attack, and X was the primary. Now, what do these books say?
Any treasure that you find will be added to your coin total. Coins are used to buy items from the greedy merchant gargoyles.
Okay.
You will find life bottles throughout Gallowmere. They contain the same magic that rose you from your slumber and will raise you from the dead once again. When your life is low, using this bottle will help you feel a little better. And remember to fill it when you can.
Okay.
When you're ready to leave this crypt, you'll find an exit at the end of the hall. To unlock the gates, you must find a runestone and place it in the ornate hand set next to the doorway.
Okay. Visually, it does look quite nice. I'm usually not overly fond of the way these remakes of old games that basically just slap a new coat of paint and some convenience on top. I'm usually not fond of the way they update the graphics with, oh, now it's got lighting effects and it's all shiny and everything, but this looks quite nice. Well, I'm not fond of the way, I don't think the remake of, particularly Crash 1, really added anything. I think the original looks a lot more vivid and vibrant.
Track down Xerox by retracing his diabolical odyssey through Gallowmere. You can spot the exits from an area by looking out for his stinking trail of magic slime.
So in the original, this was just a, there's still areas where you can't move the camera. The exits were green, glowing spots. But here it looks like it's like a green fog as well as the glowing spots. Oh, they brought the map back. I like that. The graveyard. So let's see how this is. Now I actually get a look at how the proper gameplay is, the combat. See if there's been any kind of improvement for it. Looks very much the same. Coffin's going to jump out of the ground. It'd be disappointing if the coffins didn't jump out of the ground, but it's also kind of hard to spot them. I feel like it, MediEvil is a very silly game, and I like that. I think that's one of the best parts about it.
Welcome back.
And I really want this to capture all the silliness.
The stinking dead have risen up to dance with the lifeless living, and they want to do it over your dead body.
I'm not sure how I feel about this narrator. It might be a bit much. There's like, in particular, like, reading... Someone jumped up. Oh, there you are. Reading the entries yourself is all well and good, but you can put any kind of voice you want to it like that. Having the voice be there for you feels like a bit much. Maybe they're trying too hard.
Light following you around is a wisp. The heroes of the Hall are not supposed to intervene in mortal affairs, but when they heard that Sir Daniel Fortescue had a shot at redemption, well, they decided to give you a hand with your depth perception. He will circle enemies, helping you direct your ranged attacks, but he'll also let you know what things might merit a closer look.
Okay, so this thing did exist in the original, though this book explaining it didn't. And it is basically like bam, bam, bam. That's basically what it is. It shows you where you're currently aiming, if you're currently aiming at an enemy. I'm not sure if it showed you anything else, but it's been a while since I've done the original. Looks like combat hasn't necessarily improved at all. This is going to be about the life fountain.
Zombies get you down. Tend those wounds by stepping into this fountain of rejuvenation.
One of the things I always worry about with remakes like this is stuff like this. This is a fog effect. And I'm always worried stuff like this will fade. You know, it'll just be in the background. It'll be easy to miss because of all the new lighting effects that weren't there in the original. Whereas in the original, because there weren't any lighting effects, anything that looked like a lighting effect like that was done manually by the developers. Earth rune. I'm sure I should have one. Let's go back. Oh, there it is. There we go. Is that the cathedral in the distance? That'd be a nice touch. Oh, you can change who you aim at. That's good. Although generally, I never really use the throwing daggers at all. Wait till I get the crossbow before I use a ranged weapon.
Sometimes it may be useful to view the world from a different point of view. Be sure to take a moment from time to time to enjoy the beauty of our beloved Gallowmere. Keep your eye peeled for anything interesting.
Oh, this is the third person aim I've heard of. You actually aim like this? Well, being able to look around like this isn't a bad idea. Should make it easier to spot stuff, which could be tricky in the original. One thing that is kind of like, the Crash and Sparrow remakes, in particular, justify their existence because it's a collection. Oh, jeez. It's a collection of the first three games in both series. This one's going to be a little bit weird because it's just the first game. I understand the second one isn't quite as loved as the original, but like, how much can you justify charging for this?
Remember, nothing remains hidden under the gaze of an angel.
This seems like it's a just blatantly outright telling you what to do, but that was in the original.
The object here is the chalice. Every time you dispatch an enemy with a soul, the chalice fills a little more. Fill the chalice and then collect it, and you will be worthy of visiting the sacred Hall of Heroes to claim a new weapon. There is a chalice to be found in every region of Gallowmere. They are all hidden or well guarded. Only a true hero will collect the full set.
I actually do not remember any enemies not having a soul. But yeah, it's like that's more obviously a lock in this. In the original, it was just a door that was here.
living world lies beyond these skull gates.
Hilltop Mausoleum,
The
that's what it's called, not the
master of
cathedral.
Hilltop Mausoleum, the stained glass demon, has possession of the skull key.
So I'm a little disappointed that this demo's only going to be Dan's Crypt in the graveyard this level, because I would have loved to take a look at what the stained glass demon looked like. Come on, there we go. But yeah, it is kind of weird. It's kind of weird that it's just the first game. In particular, how much can you just justify charging for a remake of a game that is... it's over 20 years old now. Is it 22? Is this 97, I think? Awesome, I want to go back for that. These are the merchant gargoyles. At a glance, these don't actually look that different from the information gargoyles when they look very different in the original. But yeah, it's like this is it's going to improve a few things. Pretty obviously, the combat is not one of them. I can see. The camera is, which I am quite happy with so far. Although we'll have to see later on in the game when the full game comes out. It's like, particularly since this is a remake of the game as it came out, how much can you justify charging for this when stuff like the Crash Insane Trilogy and the Sparrow Reignited Trilogy is the same idea but bundles 3 games together each? And it kind of reminds me of when Konami put out the Silent Hill HD collection, and beyond all the issues that actually it has, it's just Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 3. There's no Silent Hill 4 in there for some reason. And the question there was like, why not? Especially when, like, the Metal Gear Solid HD trilogy was the HD collection was 2, 3, and Peace Walker, and they'd actually put a lot of work into Peace Walker to get it on console. And it was obviously better than its original PSP version. Yeah, it is kind of a shame there's no MediEvil 2 here. Especially since it could have taken the opportunity to improve some stuff with MediEvil 2. But MediEvil 2 is a solid game. It's not as loved as the first game, and it's not because more people... It's not necessarily because more people played the first game than the second one. The first one is the better game. There's a few mechanical choices in the second one, that mechanical changes that just don't work out quite as well. I always forget to use the shield.
Feel free to have a paddle in the shallow water, but don't be tempted to go for a swim. Buoyancy can be a problem for those of a dead disposition.
Of course, there also wouldn't be so much of a need to remake this game or the Spyro and Crash games for this generation if this generation could play PS1 games. Not overly fond of that. Well, let's go back up there a minute and then jump off. Pretty sure that wasn't in the original. There's a slight stun time there when you drop from... That's not even that high a point. I mean, yeah, the original had fall damage, but you didn't really stop, especially not for a fall that short.
Tread softly. Zarek awaits beyond these gates. The master meets with the demon from the mausoleum, hatching plots of purest evil. Forgotten nobodies would be wise to make themselves scarce.
I honestly can't tell if they've re-recorded the gargoyle lines with the original voice actor or if they've just taken them. Particularly the lines that I remember most vividly are the ones as you leave the crypt. And they sounded exactly the same intonation and everything. So, who knows? Well, that's it. MediEvil Short-Lived Demo. No fanfare for the ending. I don't know. I'm fairly interested in this actually. I've been hearing kind of mixed things about the demo, but I quite enjoyed this somewhat. I will probably pick this up at some point. Probably not immediately. I'm not pressing the pre-order button. Particularly because, one, I don't pre-order digital. That is a stupid thing. Why would you pre-order digital? Pre-order was the idea of making sure you're guaranteed a copy of a game when there's limited stock. That was the whole point of pre-order. You'd go into a shop and you would be like, oh hey, I'd like to pre-order this game. And that makes sure that you will have a copy of that game ready at launch. Pre-order digital is just like, oh yeah, make sure you've got a copy of this at launch when it's an essentially infinite number of digital copies. No, I'm not pre-ordering. But yeah, I'll probably pick this up at some point. Not immediately because I have a huge backlog. I bought Dragon Quest XI this week for Switch. I haven't started it yet, and by the time this comes up, I'm probably not going to start it. I'm probably not going to have started it. By the time Horrorween finishes, I'm probably not going to have started it. But yeah, I'm pretty interested in this. This will be coming out on the weekend, the first weekend of October, which, let me get a look, should be the 5th. Yeah, the 5th. The short-lived demo is only available until midnight of the 6th. So if you've watched this and you want to try it for yourself, immediately go and grab that because it will be gone tomorrow night. As of time, well, when this goes up, it'll be gone tomorrow night. So if you're interested, go and check it out and give it a try yourself. Like I say, I heard mixed things about the demo. It's like, oh, it's very mediocre. It's like, I liked it. Honestly, I'm a very pessimistic person, particularly when it comes to remakes like this. Like, I'll complain about the Crash Insane trilogy a bunch I did in this. I've not picked up the Sparrow Reignited trilogy based entirely on my opinion of the Insane trilogy, but I'm fairly okay with this. It's not set my world on fire. It controls better, which is something I really wanted. The combat hasn't really changed, which I can understand. Trying to tighten up the combat would probably change the entire spirit of the game. But I enjoyed this. Maybe you will too. But that's going to do it for another weekend one-off. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next week.